Hey there, welcome to SI Now. It is Tuesday, December 20th, and I'm Maggie Gray. We're just a few days away from Christmas, and the NBA will take center stage. So to get caught up on a few storylines heading into the holiday, let's give a jolly welcome to our own Ben Golliver. Not sainted yet, Ben, but I'm sure that's around the corner for you at some point. A blow for the LA Clippers, as Blake Griffin is expected to miss anywhere between 3 and 6 weeks due to a right knee injury. Now, considering Blake is in a contract year, which means the team has a decision to make before the trade deadline, how could this stretch impact Blake's future with the team?
Yeah, this is a sad and kind of familiar situation for both Blake Griffin and the Clippers. He's missed time in recent years, kind of sidelining or derailing some of their playoff trips in the past. But I don't think this is a catastrophe. I mean, number one, he's only expected to miss 3 to 6 weeks. They're terming it as kind of a routine knee procedure. They expect him back to full strength in not too long. I think they're going to hold for it. Doc Rivers told me not too long ago he liked their roster top to bottom. He thought that this is sort of a playoff-ready team. He had constructed an entire offseason plan really around keeping their major pieces in place and then adding targeted veterans, and they did that. That helped them get off to a really strong start early in the year, and it's put them in position where they feel like they could be the biggest threat to the Warriors once the postseason comes around. I think that the Clippers, right now are just in hold mode. They're going to hope that Blake Griffin can get back. They're going to take their best shot in the postseason, and then they're going to figure it out next summer, knowing that Blake and Chris Paul both love Los Angeles, love being there, and expecting that they'll be able to re-sign those guys to max contracts.
I guess those are some of the perks of having your team in the second biggest media market in the country. Let's move to Philadelphia. It's been the good, the bad, and the ugly. Joel Embiid, he's the good. He turned in our adrenaline performance presented by Toyota. Let's go places. Embiid has been the best Christmas gift for Sixers fans this season, Ben. The big man is averaging over 18 points and 7 rebounds in only 24 minutes a game. So you have the stellar play of Embiid. Then you have Jahlil Okafor, who's getting big minutes at the 4, but up and down performances. And then Nerlens Noel, who seems to be the odd man out. He was recently benched for his bad attitude. So ultimately, what will the Sixers' strategy be when it comes to their big men?
Maggie, I don't think it's the good, bad, and the ugly. I think it's just the good, the ugly, and the ugly.
Ugh.
I look at Okafor, and he's a guy whose game belongs in the 1980s. I don't think he really has a spot in today's NBA as a big-time impact big man. He just doesn't play defense. He's one of the worst defensive players in the entire league. And then offensively, he wants to, pound the ball in isolation, do it one-on-one. And that's just not a winning formula. When you look at Nerlens Noel, I mean, the issues have been health-related, like you mentioned. He's frustrated about his role right now, and I completely understand why. He's waited for years and years there in Philadelphia for that old management regime to get itself together. I don't think there's an easy solution here because I don't think Nerlens Noel has much trade value, just like Jahlil Okafor. I mean, if you do try to move one of those guys, you're definitely selling low on either one of them for various reasons. And now that was supposed to be part of your core, so you're kind of telling all your fans who waited for 3 or 4 years through the process that you're going to go a completely different direction and tear it down. But, this is a situation where they drafted 3 big men in a row in back-to-back-to-back drafts, and only one of them can really play, and that's Joel Embiid.
It's interesting because right now I don't think Nerlens Noel's stock could be any lower. If they do trade for him, it'd be for about 20 cents on the dollar, so to speak. Speaking of ugly and uglier, in Sacramento, the Kings' biggest rival now, Ben, it's not another team in the Western Conference. It's their own hometown newspaper. So after DeMarcus Cousins berated a columnist for the Sacramento Bee, the team and head coach Dave Yeager defended Cousins, as we would expect, and now the newspaper is hitting back. They're calling the team apologists and enablers. Will there be any long-term effects of this feud?
Well, this one's been going on for a long time, and surprise, surprise, the coach defends DeMarcus Cousins, and me as a media member, I'm going to defend the local media. I'm not sure what they're supposed to write there when year after year after year the team is losing and there's been off-court incidents, all sorts of talks of unhappiness. I went up to a game there, earlier this season, and my first thought was they have to trade this guy as soon as possible. I think everyone in the organization would feel a great relief if that happened. But I don't think that this is sort of a Cousins versus the B as the big problem here. I think the real issue for Sacramento is completely internal. It's Cousins versus his impact on the organization. And if I were them, I certainly would be thinking long and hard about trying to move him before the trade deadline.
It seems like everything there is going the exact opposite direction that you'd want it to go. It's getting worse, not better. All right, Ben, in the spirit of the holiday season, let's get your NBA naughty and nice list. And let's begin with the nice, of course. We're nice people here, we think. Give me a team or player who's exceeded your expectations.
Well, to me, it's James Harden under coach Mike D'Antoni. I mean, there's always going to be these questions when you have a new coach come in: is he going to connect with the superstar player? And this almost seems like it's been a perfect marriage. I mean, Harden's putting up unbelievable statistics. D'Antoni is seeing his open system and the crazy three-pointers really, pour in from all over. And Houston's right there, making a push towards the top of the Western Conference standings when many people were wondering whether their approach would have them taking a step back and maybe fighting for a lower playoff seed. So in terms of dream starts, I really do think it starts with Houston.
Ben, on the flip side, give me a player or team who's been naughty, who's been disappointing this season.
Well, I think the clear answer there is the Dallas Mavericks. When you look at their track record of consistent success year after year during the Rick Carlisle and Dirk Nowitzki era, it couldn't be further than what they've seen this season. I guess that's what happened when Dirk goes out. I mean, he's sort of a one-man offense. He's missed some time there, and now they're asking guys like Harrison Barnes and Wesley Matthews, two players who were really kind of controversial big contract candidates over these last couple of summers, asked to probably do a little bit too much on offense than they're prepared for. You look at their depth, it's not the greatest. Missing out on DeAndre Jordan certainly come back to kind of bite them this season, I think, on the defensive end. They just don't have enough firepower. They don't have enough juice. I do think that this was the year for them to tank if possible, get the best draft pick you can, because you need to have a post-Dirk plan. And I do think that, Dallas is probably entering, the post-Dirk reality here even more quickly than they expected.
Well, they are in last place in the Western Conference, so if they're trying the tanking strategy, it's working well so far. Finally, Ben, the NBA and the sports world is mourning the loss of Craig Sager today. His funeral is in Marietta, Georgia, and family and friends were asked to wear colorful clothing to honor the man who made loud outfits his calling card. What was your favorite Craig Sager outfit?
Well, the thing about describing Craig's clothing is, you almost can't do it justice with words. It's beyond a simple explanation. But he had one suit jacket during the Western Conference Finals between the Warriors and the Thunder, which was like a yellow and blue, almost kaleidoscopic look, like something straight out of the 1970s. And I always thought that in the pictures from that night, it just played so perfectly with the yellow T-shirts that the Warriors handed out. It played so perfect with the overall, vibe in Oracle Arena. And that was a really big game, for Golden State to kind of keep its drive towards the title going. And so I just think the pictures from that night are so iconic. But you go right down the list. This guy was just hit after hit after hit during last year's postseason. You look even at his finals outfit for Game 6. It was a beautiful look as well there in Cleveland. So he is unrivaled, unparalleled. Certainly, I'm not doing him justice here, Maggie, with this outfit today. And there's only one of a kind, really.
No, it looks like you and I shop at the Gap compared to what Craig Sager was able to do. Nobody will ever be able to compare to his sense of style and fashion. Ben Golliver, Ben, appreciate the time. Thank you very much. Have a happy holiday.
You too, Maggie.
All right, thanks. It's time for our SI Now full-on feature countdown to the new year in no particular order of greatness because, well, we like them all. And number 9 on our list, let's take another look at the Minnesota Timberwolves dynamic duo. Here's Sports Illustrated's Chris Ballard as he learns more about the chemistry between Karl-Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins.
I don't know if you guys saw the SI preview issue came out, and we used these anonymous scouts, but they have breakdowns of the team and then a breakdown of each of you guys. So I'm going to read the one about Karl and have you respond to it and tell me if you think this is accurate, right? Towns will be a top 10 player at the end of this season. I'll take him over Anthony Davis right now. The total package offensively, he can score without being selfish. You can move him all around the court. Great touch for a big guy.
Towns fires it down.
Karl-Anthony Towns put together a real complete effort.
Anyone that watches basketball can see that, he's very talented, getting better every practice, every game, every situation that has to do with basketball. He's learning, always wants to learn. And experience is the best teacher. So every game he's just going to get better. And he's already starting now.
So here is the scout about Andrew. I question whether Wiggins will deliver on the hype. He needs to prove that he can be a guy who contributes within the structure rather than just an open court guy who gets by on his athleticism.
That's it? Oh, well. I mean, listen, I don't believe in that, because if there's one person I've ever played with as much talent as Andrew has, and that's not from me just saying that and being my teammate, but that's from the experience I've had with playing with a lot of NBA players. His ability to play within the team's offense and be able to be part of the scheme, but also finding his way to contribute is uncanny.
Oh, my goodness. He is going to be some type of special talent.
Especially for a scorer like he is. Like, you know, there's scorers in the league who need to have the ball in their hand to do great things. He doesn't need to have the ball to get 20. He could get 20 doing a lot of the little things that makes him such a great player.
I'm not afraid of a challenge. Obviously, there are a lot of things I like, otherwise I wouldn't have chosen this job. And so I'm excited about that challenge. I'm looking forward to it, and I can't wait to get started.
You know, often in a team situation, there's a head coach who's a strategist or maybe even an authoritarian, right? And then there's these assistant coaches who are development coaches. But there's Tibbs, and he's having you curl baseline, he's having you curl free throw, he's looking at your footwork. It's almost like you got every coach in one. Can you tell someone, like, try to describe to someone who hasn't been coached by Tibbs what that experience is like?
A coach like Tibbs, he gets you hyped for defense. You see a coach get excited for defense, that makes you excited. You know, then me and Kat get excited, the whole team gets excited. You know, so it's like setting the standard for the whole team.
You know, he does everything that you would think assistants would do for the head coach. He's the one doing it, from writing everything, little thing on the board. He has the assistant coaches, but he doesn't need them. He's doing every single thing himself. I think that's why his teams do so well, because he demands so much from his players that he actually does the same thing for himself as a coach. And it's fun. We talk after games, and it could be the same thing as, you know, he felt it was his fault. This play didn't work, or this play didn't work. And you never hear coaches say that, where they take the blame like that.
It's fascinating. It seems like a lot of his approach, it's detailed and it's work, but a lot of it's just desire, right? Like defensive desire?
I mean, it's just passion. You know, he has a passion for playing defense. You know, the greatest thing about defense, especially in this league, when you're playing great defense, it always leads to great offense.
Towns, a huge block denied by Towns.
Pass stolen by Andrew Wiggins. Wiggins is off to the races.
Wow, Andrew Wiggins.
You know, I think we're always all gonna eat. You know, there's always gonna be enough food at the table for all of us. As long as everyone understands that, we're all gonna play at a high level, because no one's gonna have any ego towards anyone.
Everyone knows their role.
How about that pass from Ricky Rubio?
And there is a high percentage shot for Mr. Levine.
Some people's roles might be bigger than others, but everyone's role is just as important.
I heard an interview with you, Karl, where you said, I don't want to miss any of the steps. I want this to be organic, and the process is what's important. Yeah. How do you stay focused on that now and not look ahead a year or 2 years?
Everything has to happen the way it's supposed to. You know, don't rush anything, because when you rush it, it doesn't come out right. You know, take your time, give it some love, give it some passion, and everything always comes out the right way.
Everyone has to be a good teammate. Come in the morning, work. Stay after practice, work. And leaders have to lead.
If you look at LeBron, you look at D-Wade, you look at Chris Bosh, there's the pieces that are around them help them with rebounding, shooting, you know, giving them the exact pieces they need to be that team. It's a team effort. This game was based off just pure talent and one person. You know, Michael Jordan would have had more championships than he has, but it comes around the team. He needed the Scotties, he needed the Tony Kukoc, you know, he needed those Steve Kerrs, you know. They all implemented into the success that was his career. We have to just continue to be organic. You know, we got to continue to get better every single day. We had a step that we took last year to get to the point we are at this year.
Well, I really appreciate it, guys. It was great.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, the future is definitely bright. I'm going to go out on a limb and make a New Year's prediction here. Things are only going to get better for those two in Minnesota. Well, for the most extreme athletes in the world, their ability to make death-defying maneuvers look easy is truly astounding. For Ian Walsh, one of the best professional surfers on this planet, his brushes with death are just another day at the office. Watch this. Ian, you star in the new movie Distance Between Dreams. What inspired this title?
I think it actually just came to me on a gondola snowboarding in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And I'd been playing with different names for a while, and we were trying to find something that really encompassed all the work that went into this film and what we were trying to get across with it, which is showing like a first-person perspective into our world of surfing and really kind of pulling back the curtain and showing everything that goes into what happens in the ocean for us.
What's the message, or maybe what's the feeling that you hope people leave with after watching this movie?
I guess the feeling I hope people leave with is more an understanding of each character in the film. Like, rather than just being focused on the surfing part of it, I really wanted people, along with Red Bull Media House and our director, Rob Bruce, collectively, we all wanted people to have a really good understanding of each person in the film and try to take a little bit away from them as people as well as their surfing, rather than just it being about their talents in the water.
But watching what you do is just so impressive. Were there any scary moments out here while you were filming?
Yeah, well, anything you do in the ocean, you can't have complete control. So we try to like minimize the risks as best we can, but you still have the looming fact that you're at the mercy of the ocean. And it does get a little bit scary, but that's what's so fun and that's what's so progressive for us, is pushing ourselves in this like little capsule of fear.
I mean, look at what we just saw. I mean, a board broken in half. You mentioned you have 5 stories of water coming down on you. Are these the biggest waves that you've ever surfed?
During the filming of this project, we had probably the biggest day in paddle and surfing history that I've seen that had light winds. We get a lot of really big swells that have 60 or 70 foot surf, but it comes with a lot of weather naturally. And we had one day that got to that height range of 60 feet or so, and it had really light winds. So that gave us an opportunity to not use a jet ski and actually focus on trying to paddle in. Because when the wind's there, it lifts your board and makes it a lot harder. So when there's no wind, it's a lot more approachable and actually gives us an opportunity.
What you do is incredible, but you were the valedictorian of your high school. Really, you probably could have done anything. What did your parents say when you told them you wanted to become a professional surfer?
Well, my mom and dad were a little supportive, I'd say. That's probably putting it as lightly as possible.
Very little bit.
They let me basically run with my wildest dreams, and they supported me the entire way. And I think that was a big reason I ended up being a valedictorian of my high school and kind of leading into what I want to do in surfing, is because they put this subtle freedom on me, and I was like, well, if they're going to let me do all this stuff in the water, then I want to do as well as I can in school, so it kind of balances itself out naturally. They were never like harping on me to do one or the other. And then when I made the choice to kind of go into it as a career and try to pursue it full time, they were completely supportive and just let me run with it, and it's been snowballing ever since.
I would say you're already at the top of your sport. What's next? What's the motivation for you moving forward?
I think for me moving forward is just to try to progress myself and stay fit and healthy. Like, a big part of what we do in these waves is very taxing on your body. So a lot of like what we do in the gym and the time on the bike during the year is preparing me to have a lot more longevity in the sport. And I think that's just my main focus, is as long as I'm waking up feeling healthy, feeling fit and excited for the next day, when I go to bed, then I'm pretty motivated to keep going.
Is chasing the perfect wave something that you've encountered? Is that even out there? Is that something that drives
I mean, the perfect wave is definitely out there, but having seen it, that hasn't happened for me. You have this platform of ocean that you're constantly chasing, it's constantly changing, and you never really have this deep satisfaction. Like, you might get exactly what you're looking for, but you surf the wave a little differently than you wanted to. So you're always, that's what's so fun about it. You never really lock into what you imagine is going to be there, and you have to adapt and react to what is there. So I think it's like a never-ending process of just going around in a circle, and that's what makes it so fun for me.
Ian Walsh, congratulations on the movie Distance Between Dreams. It's an unbelievable film.
Thank you very much. And it'll be available for free on Red Bull TV from December 19th to the 25th, and you can see it right now on any platform you have. But ideally, you're watching it on a big screen with a good sound system because it is scored to create this surround sound feel, and so you really have this sense of what we hear and see in the water.
Phenomenal. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Watching that surfing footage is absolutely stunning. And that is going to do it for this Tuesday episode of SI Now. We'll see you back here tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. Legendary boxing play-by-play broadcaster Jim Lampley will be here, as well as country music star Tucker Beathard. You won't want to miss that. Until then, stick with SI.com for all the latest news, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter at SI Now Live. See you tomorrow.